I heard from Amy. Come at 4. So I think I'd like to leave around 11 anyhow, honey, and stop for lunch.
Beverly, Frank, would you please mute yourself?
Hello, hello. Testing. That's just the volume gains right now. That's my.
Okay. Perfect. You don't want to start echoing. Yeah, if you just don't mind staying here for a few minutes. All right, maybe try to test that.
Test, 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 test. Test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, great. Beautiful. Okay. Can everyone hear me? All right, great. Okay, so thank you so much again. Little technical difficulties. What else is new? But we are able to figure that out, thankfully, to our youngins. Okay, so first of all, thank you all so much for being here in person, and for those joining us on Zoom. We will be alternating questions at the end of the program between in-person and Zoom. So just we'll be patient with getting questions from Zoom. But I do want to welcome David Magnar, who is from Mosaic Senior Life. As you, for people who have been attending these ongoing workshops, you can see we have a very large depth of resources at Mosaic Senior Life. David is the supervisor of therapeutic recreation for the Adult Day program, and he also is going to introduce his other role at Mosaic Senior Life because it's very long. But so I do want to welcome David and all of you here. Thank you, David, for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to David, and this is something that I think is going to strike a chord for a lot of us. This is one reason: socialization, keeping your mental stimulation going. That's one reason why people join life plan communities, because of the socialization, the ability to continue education and be stimulated every day with others. So thanks again, David.
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. As we said, my name is David Magnar. I oversee therapeutic recreation for our medical model Adult Day program. I also oversee one of our newer programs that we launched in 2019 called the Memory Workshop. It's a program where we work with seniors in the community who are concerned about memory or have been recently diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. The program operates 4 days a week. We launched in 2019 with only 2 people. We have now worked with over 85 people since then. So we started to realize that there is a need out there in the community for education when it comes to brain health. We hear that a lot: brain fitness, right? How do we keep our brains sharp? So with that said, we took our program on the road about 2 years ago. We currently go to different senior centers and other non-for-profit organizations, and we talk about exactly what we're going to do here today. Biggest question I get asked is, I think my memory is going. Something happened last week and I'm scared. And I always say to people, well, what happened? What was so concerning? Oh, I lost my keys. That is not an answer. Okay. If you're looking at a lot of other people, I've been losing my keys since I was 17 years old. Okay. So we talk about a term, and please remember this. And if you have questions at the end, please ask me. Baseline. How many of you heard about the term baseline? Okay. And baseline basically means, as when we look at memory, is how sharp was your memory throughout your entire life? What are things that you may have forgotten? Doesn't mean that all necessarily now it's something you should be concerned about. So a part of the Finger Workshop, part 3 and 4 today, is we're going to be talking specifically about keeping your brain active. And please don't hesitate to ask questions. There's a lot of great information in here, okay? So let's go on to the second slide. Activities to keep your brain sharp, please. Okay. So as you already know, the Finger Model Review really kind of measured 5 different key areas that we should all be focusing on as a whole. A healthy diet, physical activity, cognitive stimulation, social activities, and the next one that's coming up is monitoring of cardiovascular values. What I like about the Finger Study program is it was one of the first of its kind, okay? And so many people who participated over the age of 60 actually found, after they were retested, improvement in their memory, okay? So when we talk about memory loss, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gone for what? Ever. It depends on each individual and things you can do to keep yourself healthy. Next slide, please. Okay, so the term cognitive stimulation. How many of you have heard of that term? All right. So what do we do to keep our minds stimulated, right? So education, occupation, leisure activities all contribute to our cognitive health. After retirement, it is advisable to look for brain training and other things for the work-related daily cognitive stimulation. How many of you do or have brain training apps? Raise your hand. What are they? We're going to get into that. Okay, the great question. Okay. Has anybody heard of Cognitive Fit? Yes. Okay, we'll talk about that app as well. So it's really important to make sure that when you leave here, to really start looking at how do we manage our weekly or daily functions where we're focusing specifically on what? Brain health and things we can do that. Social activities. It's always great for our brain health to socialize with friends and feel part of a social context. These close relationships may be more important than the size of your social network. This is Finger. We also count the necessity of relaxation, sleep, and stress reduction. As people emerge from COVID in 2022, something alarming was starting to happen. Those over 60 who were isolated, on average of 25 to 35% of the people they polled had cognitive decline. Why is that? Because they're isolated. They're not socially engaged with other people. I always use this term. If you don't use it, you lose it. So it's very important. And a lot of people will say, well, socialization, that's not important. I'm a person likes to, I'm an introvert. I like to be at home alone. It is key to get out and do something with other people, especially at a senior center or somewhere else. Next slide. Sorry. Okay. What is brain fitness? So if you've not heard that word yet, there's an emerging industry on maintaining or even increasing brain function as we age. The industry is backed by some science, and what's interesting is they're pointing to different methods we can use to stimulate our brains. We're going to talk about some of the apps that actually have science behind it. Brain fitness is a combination of improving the physical and mental health of your brain overall. Just as physical fitness has become a central topic related to human health and well-being over these past decades, we're getting more research into how the brain is structured, organization, function signals, and what's proven to actually improve memory. How many of your doctors have come and talked to you about brain health? Raise your hand. One person. It's a combination of both, yes. In the last 5 years, something is starting to happen that's very important. More and more doctors are starting to emerge and having conversations with individuals about what you can do now to start making sure you do not decline in memory loss. We look at the body really from the neck down, okay? But not a lot of doctors talk about, well, what's something I can do, okay? If I was diagnosed with diabetes, I would know right away, what's the medication I should take, right? What are the exercises I should be doing? And more importantly, how do I eat healthier and a healthier lifestyle? But we don't talk about that when it comes to the brain. And that's something we're going to discuss a little bit later, okay? All right, what are some ways you can improve your memory? The big one, and this sounds like a children's games, right? Play games, what does that mean, okay? Brain fitness programs and some apps, which we will go over, are wonderful ways to tease and challenge your memory. Sudoku, how many have done Sudoku? A lot of people, good, all right. How many of you done crosswords? Excellent. Well, let me go back to Sudoku. There's different levels of difficulty. I'm getting all the smiles, yes, okay. How many of you are comfortable with the easy ones? Okay. How many of you have gone above and beyond and actually done the more difficult ones? Good for you. Yeah. So that's why I always tell people, if you're doing Sudoku, for many, they say, oh, this is too challenging. Start off easy, right? And once you get into the habit, then you have to what? Try something a little bit more what? Difficult. Right. Absolutely. So crossword puzzles, excuse me, electronic games can all improve your brain speed and memory. We'll look at some of the apps in a moment. And why these are so important is these games rely on logic, word skills, math. How many like math? Oh God, I love this room. All right, usually I get maybe one person and more. All right, reading something different. Okay. One of the things we require in our memory workshop program is that we do some type of different reading. Okay. And what was interesting is I had a woman come to the class at 76 years old with MCI, which is called mild cognitive impairment. And she said to me, I used to be an avid reader, but now I'm having difficulty. I'm just not reading anymore. So I said, are you still trying something a little bit more simpler, something different? She said, no, I'm just frustrated. So she started reading in the class. And guess what happened? When she went home, after months of being in the class, she started what? Reading on her own. And she noticed a difference because once we tend to get frustrated with something, we what? We stop. So it's important to try to read, okay? Whether it's history books, different novels, it's always important to keep your mind engaged. All right, next slide, please. I believe Wendy was talking to me about this. Learning a new skill, okay? How many of you played an instrument? Raise your hand. Oh, great, okay. Played is the term, okay. All right. How many of you learned something new that you haven't done ever recently? How many of you tried a new game? How many of you signed up for maybe an art class? How many of you tried chess? How many of you want to step outside your comfort zone? Because when you do that, you're creating new neurons that what? Improve your brain health. So sometimes you have to step out and say, I would not normally do this 30 years ago, but let me give it a what? A try. One of the biggest recommendations that comes out of the Alzheimer's Association for those who are trying to keep their memory at the same level or improvement is learning a new instrument or learning how to play an instrument. I face, yes, to play the clarinet, not something I would want to do, but you have to start looking at this research and say, hey, if it's having actually some positive effects, why not what? Try it. And if you don't like it, then you don't what? Continue. Okay. Train your brain. This is what we're going to get into next, these brain apps that are out here. Brain training is becoming a huge trend in the industry. There are formal courses, websites, there are books you can buy, there are other programs. And what they work on is how to train your brain and improve memory recall. Okay. It's becoming so big that the industry is almost $1 billion industry now, okay? So the question is, do all brain training apps work for every single person. No. And that's why you're going to see so many different opportunities to do different things to keep your memory or improve upon it. But it doesn't mean that one will work for all. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, we talked about Sudoku already. How many of you have heard of this? Luminosity. Raise your hand. How many of you actually have gone on and tried Luminosity? Raise your hand. One person. No? Good. So for those who don't know, it's one of the most established brain training and mental fitness programs that's currently on the market. You can sign up for free. We like that word. Free, right? It is limited to how many you can do on the free account, which gives you 3 different types of games per day, or you can choose a subscription service for more offerings. Either way, this is one thing I really like about the app, as you see in the next one. It can keep track of your what? Results. So if you're feeling like app or something, you're like, this is not working, you can actually see if it's improving or if it's what? The same. Okay. Either way, Luminosity's fun brain training and mental fitness games, tests, and activities are actually backed by science, and there's 1,000 different games you can play. Okay. Crossword puzzles, this is the best way to go. They're cheap, you can find them online. How many of you do crossword puzzles every day? Okay, good. You try to stick to easy crossword puzzles? Yeah. I hear you. Challenge yourself. Try something a little bit more difficult. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, 2 ones I want you to write down if you've not heard of them, or circle them, please. The other one that's really big in the market is Braingle. What a name. I don't know who marketed that. Okay. It claims to have, and actually I've seen it has one, of the largest collections of brain teasers on the market. It's also a free website, although you can have a subscription. They currently have over 15,000 different games, puzzles, and other teasers as well. What's nice, there's also an online community, so you can get to work with other people, and you can create your own games and puzzles, and we're gonna do something like that before the end of the hour. I'm getting faces already. You'll enjoy it. The other one is Happy Neuron. Has anybody heard of that? Okay. This is interesting. This app divides all the games and activities into 5 critical brain areas. Not the other ones don't. So think about this. It focuses on memory. It focuses on your attention span, language, executive functions, and visual and spatial. Okay. Luminosity, like Luminosity, it personalizes the training to fit you and it tracks your progress as well. So I think these are really simple, easy starts of getting onto these apps, trying them for free, and see if it's something that actually what? Works for you. But remember, don't be afraid of a challenge. Okay. I was talking in my class last week, we were talking about memory loss as a whole. And someone said to me, well, I'm very busy all day. I get up, take a shower, go to the senior center, have lunch, come home, and wash my clothes, and do all these other things. But your brain is already what? Used to doing that. Think about that. It's like getting on a bike. Once you get on a bike, it's like get back on. It's muscle memory. So I said to her, why not try something different you've never done before? I don't have the time. So I said to her, I said, do you work out? She goes, yes, I go for walks 3 times a week. I said, so you have the time for walks, but you don't have the time to what? Work on your memory. So it's thinking about changing the way you look, about fitness exercise when it comes to your brain. Okay, next slide, please. Very quickly through this, I was gonna just talk about social activities, creative activities, physical activities, although you guys already discussed that, and learning activities. How many of you know another language? Raise your hand. Oh, wow. Used to. Okay. There's emerging science coming out of Harvard that one way to actually possibly boost your memory and improve attention is to learn a new language. Now, we all know after a certain age, even my age of 41 years old, it is not easy to what? But it doesn't mean that you can't what? Try. Next slide. All right, social activities. How many of you are a part of a senior center or meet other people and do something like play cards, listen to music? Oh, I like she raised her hand. No, that's fine, yeah. Okay. How many of you are active in artwork? Used to be. Look at Ray. Okay. It's so important, as I keep saying, to try something different that you've never done. Even if you're not interested in playing an instrument, which has shown about 25% of those over 65 that actually learn how to play an instrument have boosted their memory overall. But it's trying different things like cards, canasta. I said chess before, and I got a lot of faces. Anybody here know how to play chess? Do you still play? Particular reason? Your son beat you too many times. So usually when I recommend chess, what do you think for people who've never played? What do you think is the response of why people don't want to learn how to play chess? Too hard. So if my doctor told me that you have to start walking a mile a day, and I get up the first day and I'm not big into exercise. I hate it. Do it when I have to. And I try to walk that mile the first time. I say, this is too hard. I have to give up. We have to start rethinking about if it's difficult, why not what? Try it. Even if you get beaten, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Next one, creative activities. How many of you cook and bake still? Yes, that's a great one. Cooking is a huge opportunity to get out there and socialize or join a group. Painting, as we talked, drawing, sculptures or sculpturing. Anybody ever tried sculpturing? One, okay. This is a very active group, I must say. I like that. Painting, collage, photos, writing, anything that's different to stimulate different parts of your what? Your brain. They seem simple, but all these things can add up to help improve your memory. All right, next slide. Meditation. Can we do meditation? You're going to come and teach this class for me. Meditation, Tai Chi, gardening, all these other things, other physical activities, use different parts of your motor skills. Have you ever heard of this saying? Eye-hand coordination. Very important, all right? So these are things you can do, whether it's indoor gardening, dancing, learning a new dance, something like that, all can be very good for your cognitive functioning. Next slide. Okay. Who's heard of the term working memory? This class is great. All right. There was a really interesting investigative journaling that was done by a gentleman named Jason. And the gentleman and his colleagues trained healthy adults aged 60 to 80 with complex working memory tasks over 4 to 5 weeks. So it was like a workshop, kind of like what we're doing here. What's amazing about this training is they tested all these individuals before. They did what they call a cognitive test. And 95% of those participants, after the 5 weeks, when retested, what? Improved. So does it work for every single person? No. But it's trying something new, working memory, which we'll get into a little bit later. Next slide, please. Active study was another one where they found training benefits went beyond improving the targeted skills and memory. That research was impressive. Over 65% of all participants improved their memory within 2 months, similar to the finger study, okay? So there's a lot of different studies out there that you can find as well. Playing games, exercise, attention, all that focus on eye-hand coordination. How many of you play cards? This group is great. You don't need memory improvement. All right. Next step, please. So before we get into this section, I want to try, just because of time, I want to try our own cognitive exercise. How about that? You want to try it? So I'm hoping people at home have a pen, piece of paper. I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen. And what I want you to do on a clean piece of paper is draw a line down the middle. We're going to do 2 columns. So column 1, you're going to put on top words that end with a vowel. Words that end with a vowel. Second column, you're going to put states, as in the United States. Oh, I saw a face already. What? States. Yep, any state. Oh, yeah. So you're going to list as many states as you can. Okay. We're going to start with just column one. Your goal is to get 30 words just in column one, and you're going to have 5 minutes. Go. Five minutes to list as many words that end in a vowel. We'll do 2 more minutes. Last minute. time's up. How did we do? I heard. Whew. So count them up, see how many you got. Good. Yeah, yeah, frustrating when you're like right there, right? 30 was your goal. Even if you got six is better than what? None. How many of you got 30? Raise your hand. More than 30, great. Excellent. So, no, great. Excuse me? You can come teach my class then. 53. Nice job. Okay. Even if you were not happy with how many you got, and when this is one thing you're going to learn why we're doing this before we get to the States, we do these exercises once a week. And what I do is we pick different categories. Overall, if I find the categories difficult, people will go home and what? Practice. And then come and practice. And because recall and repetition are so important when it comes to what? Memory. And it's actually surprising how much of the class as a whole, after doing certain types of these exercises for 5 weeks in a row, actually improve upon on their what? So it's very important. All right. The next one we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to states. Before I start and give you 5 minutes, I want you on the bottom of there to put how many you think you'll get in 5 minutes. I want you at the bottom of that list to put how many you think you will get in 5 minutes. Are you ready? 5 minutes. Go. last minute. Okay, time's up. I saw a lot of this. Right? Not always as easy as it what seems. Okay, so compared to the score you gave yourself that you predicted, count up how many you got and compare it. Please do.
We're gonna do the vowels first, and then we're gonna do the states.
Mhm.
I started thinking of states that ended in the vowels so that I could double dip.
She's ahead of the class already, yes. So I will hear, I don't know how you came up with yours, please share if you like. I will hear people when we do this exercise ever so often in the class go, I remember I start on the East Coast, I work on the West Coast, and then I work my way what? In. But that, it works. Or some people do a very interesting one. They'll do alphabetically. They'll go A to Z. Did you do that? Excellent. And that way you're not, you can go back to make sure you're not what? Repeating. So one thing I find with memory is if I told you you have 20 minutes to write all 50 down, you probably would likely go back in your list and say, oh, I got Arkansas twice, right? I had one woman say, I have 56, David. I said, well, you're a go-getter because there's only 50, right? Okay. How many of you before this would ever take time to 15 minutes out of your day to do an exercise like this? One? Good. So there's going to be a part 2 in a second on states, but hold on. I spoke at the Weston Senior Center, and you guys are very active in your memory. But what I found over about 30 people when I spoke to them was a lot of them didn't take time out of their week or took the effort to do something to stimulate their mind. We did this type of exercises, a little bit different. What was amazing was I challenged them, and I would challenge all of you, is to spend at least 2 days a week for 15 minutes doing something what? For your brain. What was astonishing to me was I got a phone call from the senior center director a month later that 4 of the members in that program started their own what? Group. It's called Brain Buddies. They're up to 13. And what they do is they come in for about a half hour and they do different what? Cognitive exercise. And they challenge themselves and they go home and they say who can beat who. Maybe it's not something you would personally want to do, but it's taking the effort to do something what? Different. Okay. Bonus one, and then I think I might go to questions. I know I'm running out of time, I think. Bonus question. You got room? Make room. Fold it out. This one we'll just do 3 minutes. Very quick. How many states and what states border the Pacific Ocean? How many states? Some said easy and good. I can't answer that question yet. 3 minutes. How many states and what states border the Pacific? We're going to do 3 minutes. Go. Some people might need 3. Yes. Okay, good. You do better on the map. Okay, just for time purposes, we'll do 1 more minute. 1 more minute. My handwriting's atrocious, don't. All right, time's up. I saw at least 2 people go, I already know what the answer is. I was okay. So just your number, how many states border the Pacific? 5. Very good. Yes. Yeah. See something? Yeah. What do you think? What state is the most forgotten that borders the Pacific? Hawaii. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. See. Alaska's another one. Yeah. But Hawaii definitely one. Yeah. So for some, that was what? Easy. For some, it was a little bit difficult. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. So try that. Now, if I told you, which we will not do today because it's almost 11:30, how many states border the Atlantic? I don't know if that would be as easy. Yeah. And how would you do it? You got to work. Right. Okay. How many do you think you could name all 50 states? How many minutes? I like your question, sir. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So although that might be easy to you, once again, your challenge leaving here today, and please, I'll take some questions soon, is what am I going to do in my routine that's different to challenge my what? Brain. What is something you can do to challenge it? What is something that you can do brain active? Does anybody have an idea now? Something you'd like to do? You want to do an app, okay? So very important. We're short on time, but I want to take questions, obviously. I hope everybody enjoyed first coming in today. I hope you got something from it, and take any questions you would like ask, please. Any questions? Yeah.
Questions? Up, Lynn.
I've heard that short-term memory is that I've heard that short-term memory goes quicker than long-term memory, which is true.
Yes. So when we talk about memory loss, okay, doesn't mean it's always a diagnosis. Your short term goes what? First. Your long term goes last. Okay. HBO did a very interesting documentary, although this is very far off what we're talking about today, but of 2 people who were advanced dementia, and they were no longer to have communication with their loved ones. However, when they played their favorite song, they started what? Singing. And there's more about why music's so important for recall and long-term memory, because we're starting to see evidence that music is what we call the tattooed memory, and it's one of the last things to go in memory loss. Great question. But yeah, short-term usually goes first. Other questions? Yes, and then we'll go to you.
One of those, close, okay. You know, to download one of those apps, set Luminosity or Cognate, to actually do that every day, you know, a few games on that probably, or do something, you know, different.
Something that challenges you and something you're interested in doing. Doesn't mean everybody's gonna be interested in doing Luminosity, and that's fine, but it's challenging your brain to do something new and different.
Just different from what you're used to doing.
Yeah, whatever the effort you want to put in, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brain fitness games for short-term memory.
Ah, great question.
Like all, at least the way my brain worked in terms of these exercises, I went one step beyond. Just
Yes.
like you said, went down the map.
So there are some games you can look up, but specifically, and I've seen this done, Alzheimer's Association work with this, where it's varied in how many minutes, but you could put a list of 3 or 4 numbers on the board, erase it, and then you have to what? Write them down. Yeah. Because it's short term. I'm putting it on the board for maybe 30 seconds or a minute, right? And then I'm asking you after I erase it to what? Recall that in a short amount of time. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Did you have a question? Yeah.
Can you email us some other kinds of things like this to do?
Actually, before you leave, I have one exercise in particular you can do. I have handouts. Yeah. There's a, let me make sure I say this right. It's not free. They give some free items, but take a look at it. I'm going to read it to you to spell it out. It's called Golden, GOLDEN, GOLDEN CARERS, all one word. CARERS.com. And if you have questions, I can always email stuff to Ray as well. Okay.
So I have something I heard recently, so I guess it's more of a tip, is the people you were referring to who don't have the time to, to participate, or they don't have time in their day. So I heard if you have a routine, switch up your routine. That'll help as well. So if you don't have time, at least switch up your routine. If you go for a walk in the morning, try a walk in the evening. If you do your laundry in the morning, try it at different times. And apparently that helps you.
So, interesting. Some doctors recommending to individuals with mild cognitive impairment. This sounds silly, but try it. How many of you brush your teeth with the right hand? Okay. Try on your left. Serious, yeah. Try on your left. Try something different. How many of you tie your shoe with your right hand? Hands, that's impressive. Good for you. Try it. Try the opposite. But yes, that's a really good. Once again, seems silly, but you've trained your brain over time. It just becomes what? Natural. So try something different. Actually, what? Well, listen, I can't lie. I tried brushing my teeth with my left hand. Yeah, I got done with that after. It wasn't, but it seems silly, but it's not as easy as you think. You're working a different part of your what? Your brain. Any other questions? Oh,
Hold on, Roz.
love the questions, by the way. Thank you.
You didn't discuss a type of brain fitness which is more interacting with people in a variety of fashions.
Correct. I know.
In other words, I do very little of this, maybe next to none, but I do a great deal of community activity,
Correct.
being part of groups,
Correct.
and that's, I think, another way of mental stimulation that you didn't mention here.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned socialization, right, which is very important. And whether it's community-based services or being out in the community, working with different people, it's very important. I briefly had mentioned, I know it's my apologies because of time, but we already seen just out of COVID what isolation can do to someone. It can actually, for many individuals over 60, what? Decline cognitively. So any type of group activity, whatever you're doing, if you're interacting with other people, there are some studies out, they vary percentage-wise from time to time. I saw one where it says if at least you're out in the community or active in some type of group once a week over 60, it can actually diminish your likelihood of getting memory loss, like cognitive impairment, by 10 to 20%. So there are some studies out there and it's very important. Thank you for letting me, yeah, thank you for telling.
Thank you, David. Any other questions? Have we forgotten those questions? No, just kidding.
Listen, sometimes I forget the question too.
No, seriously. Thank you so much, David. We do appreciate it. David is just a wealth of information, and what he does at Mosaic Senior Life is invaluable for the members that are participating in the adult day as well as the memory care program. So we appreciate your expertise and knowledge. Thank you so much. Oh, Lester, did you have a question? Hold on a moment. Hold on.
Will this kind of program be offered for us once we move in?
Great question.
Well, I'm sure there will be programs that will be engaging and mentally stimulating, obviously. Yes, socialization, mental stimulation activities always are on activity calendars in life plan communities. So that's our focus, is to make sure that the members that live at Mosaic Concierge Living will stay engaged, stay active, stay stimulated. So yeah, that I think you can expect programming similar to this, as well as groups that form, like David had mentioned with some of the classes that he teaches, they form organically. There's always brain games and crossword puzzles that are available to people. So the New York Times crossword starts on Monday, easy, and it increases in difficulty as it gets to Sunday. My daughter does that every day and timed. So it's, you know, it's just an interesting exercise and a habit to get into, which I think is something that you stress, that habitual, repetitive, consistent challenges are always something that is going to benefit you versus hurt you. So, oh, wait, just a moment.
We're going to have a club room. So we have a club room that will have a bunch of different tables. So you can have a Mahjong. Oh, you could have a Mahjong game going over here, a bridge game going on over here, but there's a club room for that reason, so that you could have different games so that you're getting together socially, but also working your brain by participating in these different activities in the club room.
Yep. So organically, things will be available to the members that live at Mosaic Concierge Living, and I'm excited to have everybody come in. So thank you again, David.
Thank you all so much. And if you want any more information or some other articles I have, please let Ray know. I'll be happy to send them. All right.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. I might fail on that one.
Great.
Should I ask my question or do we get off it already? Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead and ask. Wait.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
sorry. Go ahead and ask, and I'll ask David.
When you do the food shopping yourself and you engage with other shoppers and talk to them and talk to the checkout people, does that count as social engagement?
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is there is a wonderful book by Lisa Genova called Remember, the Science of Memory and the Art of Forgetting. And there's certain things we're supposed to forget. And not only is it informative, it's assuring, and it's also funny because you laugh in every chapter.
Okay, I will make note of that and then include that in my recap.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions on Zoom? All right, without further ado, I'm going to log off.